What's up guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Realistic Career Mode. This is episode number 20 and we're starting today's stuff on the back of our big win over Aston Villa. Finally, after such a tough start to the season, back-to-back victories in the Premier League at Ashton Gate and Villa Park as well. We have a scouting update and an academy update as well, as you know, entered October. As you can see, our Belgians, English talents, and also now scouting for a French goalkeeper as well this month here too, our first one of France. I've got to say, I'm really hopeful this year we'll pick up some better youth players. Now, Billy Pearson, who we've just picked up, looks like he could be okay, highest overall so far, but of course the potential range is quite big as we just scouted him. We got a couple of decent fullbacks here, you know, Muriel and Didier, two young French talents, look alright, but I think you know, sometimes I can be a little bit too selective with my youth players, but I really feel it's the right way to go because I've mentioned before, for those of you who don't do youth scouting much, there are two star ratings for youth scout. Those are experience and judgment. And for those that are unaware, just real briefly, experience, the higher amount of stars in experience determines how many players you'll get back per report. And judgment, of course, means the quality of players will be much greater the higher the star rating. So if you have a five-star scout, the likelihood is you're going to get a large chunk of youth players sent to you month after month. So you'll have tons of options in a 9-month mission, loads and loads of players to choose between, and of course the higher the judgment rating, the likelihood is you're gonna find some stars at some point. So if you find some average players, it's probably best just to let them go because you're probably going to get far more and far better options as the months go by in your scouting mission. And don't forget, youth player potentials, they tend to decrease over time as well once the scout gets a better idea of how good your youth players are. I really do feel as though in FIFA career mode, I know sometimes it might sound like I'm being a little bit too selective when I'm releasing players with like a 79 to 85 potential rating. That's really good. You might be wondering why I'm letting those go. It's because there are far better options out there, so it's best to be really selective when you've got top class scouts. Anyway, first game of today's episode, the Magpies at St Mary's, and oh my goodness, this dude is just on fire. Brace at Villa Park, and a goal here for his third in 6 goals in 7 games for the man who's back where it all began. Gareth Bale opens the scoring and then 50 minutes in gets the hockey assist for our second. Rolls through Adamola Lookman, who I've got to be honest here, has really hit the ground running, bagged the brace at Ashton Gate. He's got a few assists as well. He's looking like an amazing signing for 19 million from RB Leipzig. It's 2-0 Southampton, and we look as though we're on course for 3 straight wins in the Premier League. And we get the clean sheet as well. 28 minutes to go, St Maximin denied by David Raya in a 2-0 victory. 2 clean sheets in 3 wins in a row in the Premier League. And, yep, finally, Southampton are starting to get their form sorted. And Lord knows we needed it as well. No wins in our first 4 games. And I've got to be honest here, I was just sitting there thinking about last season. We had this really tough beginning to the campaign and wondering whether Broha was the sole reason why we did reasonably well. Mid-table finish, FA Cup quarter-final place. I was just thinking, was it all because of Armando? And now we've lost him, we can't do anything, and we're going to be in a relegation scrap. But I think what I need to remind myself is, we had a tough start to the season, man. We started off with Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, then the champions Man City, in Crystal Palace away. It was hardly an easy beginning for us. So yeah, it's definitely been good to know that after a tough start to the season, we have started picking it up. Following that, we changed the position of one of our academy players there. I don't think he's going to make the cut anyway, but I wanted to see his overall change. Do keep an eye on that as well. When you've got youth players in your academy, because you can put development plans on youth academy players as well as senior players as well. If you have a player who's clearly playing in the wrong position, change his position as soon as possible, because it'll only take about 2 to 4 weeks for that to happen, and you'll probably see an overall increase as well. One of the problems I find with youth scouting is that the players' potentials can oftentimes be really good, but their overalls are really poor. And when you are managing in the top tier, for example, in the Premier League, are you really going to be throwing in like a 58 rated player? Probably not, right? So yeah, do keep an eye on that. If a player is playing in the wrong position, clearly look to change that position. What you'll find this year is a lot of central midfielders should be playing as attacking midfielders. That was the case right there. Jump them up by rating with a quick position change there, and it gives them more of a chance of making it in your senior squad. Anyway, second game of today's episode on the back of 3 straight wins in the league, and I was thinking, can we keep it rolling here in North London? The answer was no. Taking on Arsenal away at the Emirates Stadium, Mikel Arteta's side off to a good start this season. And can I just real briefly say as well, after we lost this game by 2-0, the academy graduates with the goals. Bukayo Saka with an incredible bicycle kick, and then Smith Rowe wrapping up a nice team goal as well. Can we talk about the fantastic redemption arc for Mikel Arteta? Do you remember at the start of the season, they lost on the opening day to Brentford. I think they didn't score or pick up any points in their first 3 games. They had that hammering at the Etihad Stadium as well. And the odds on Arteta being the first Premier League manager to be sacked were so short, it was unbelievable. It seemed, very likely he was going to get fired very quickly into the season. But what a redemption arc from Mikel Arteta. I mean, he really had them playing so well in mid-season. They've still, of course, got that chance of finishing in a Champions League spot as well. I think he's done such a great job to handle not only the pressure and the scrutiny, the uncertainty as well, and get his Arsenal team playing so well. And don't forget, this is still an Arsenal team, lest we forget, that's technically still kind of in rebuild mode. I mean, they're still trying to figure out their identity, really losing Aubameyang this season going to Barcelona. The fact at the start of the season he seemed like so likely he was going to get sacked, and now they've got a genuine chance of returning to the Champions League after quite a few years without CL football. You got to give the guy some credit, man. He's done really well to turn things around there at the Emirates Stadium. Anyway, third game of today's episode, Wolverhampton Wanderers, and on the back of the defeat to Arsenal, they're returning to St Mary's, looking for our first home win in the Premier League this season. We're taking on Bruno Lage's side. We saw Ritsu bag his second goal of the season. Jose Sarr probably should have saved it, but we will take it. And then Ruben Neves, still at Wolves, makes it 1-1. He normally moves on after a few years. He's got such great potential, but for now, still at Molineux. He levels it for Wolves. It's 1-1, and there was 7 minutes to go. Should have bagged our second goal here and got back in front. Ritsu denied, still tied at 1-1, but as he keeps the chance alive. Oh, yes. Yes, finally the guy is doing what he did all throughout last season. I mean, to start the campaign off, really tough start. Maybe overshadowed by Gareth Bale coming in, but what a wonderful little skill goal here with Ritsu. Couple of moves to beat his 2 men. First a scoop turn, then a heel flick, and the finish. Top corner as well. Brace for our Japanese sensation in the first half. And there's no doubt about it. I said in the summer, Gareth Bale was our joint biggest signing. The other biggest signing was signing this guy to a contract extension. I said Ritsu might go in the summer. In the end, I talked him round with a, let's be honest here, massive pay increase. He's doubled his salary, but I think he deserves it. And I said 1 more year. If we don't get European football next year, you can go. Ritsu's agreed to that player promise, football manager style, and he's staying for the year, and I'm glad he is. He's got our first 2 goals in the game, and then late on in the match, 8 minutes to go, we had to wrap it up through another great new signing. Ademola, look man, with another. What a buy he's been from RB Leipzig. 3-1 Southampton, and it was our wingers who got the goals in this game in a 3-1 victory over Bruno Lage's side. So, on the back of the defeat to Arsenal, talk about a response. 3 victories in 4 now in the Premier League, and the Saints are finally marching in. Yeah, first time being able to say that really, but even so, 3-1, and we're now climbing up the table quickly as we continue to put the pressure on the sides in the European places. Obviously this season, again, the board has said finish in the Europa League spot, and as we know, in the game, that's 5th place. Like, 5th place is where you've got to finish for that objective to be hit. But as we know, it depends on cup competitions. Like, 5th is a guaranteed European place. But 6th and 7th can also give you it if the winners of the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup finish in the top 4. So it's still definitely possible for us to finish in 7th and still get Europa Conference League football. I'll be totally honest here, that is my outside aim. My main aim is top 10. But I think about this team sometimes and wonder, am I being a little bit too unambitious here? I mean, is there any reason why we can't finish 5th place? I mean, when we're clicking, when we're firing on all cylinders, absolutely. And I'm reminded of the fact that the big teams in this division are still far superior to us with way more depth. When you think about the new signers coming in, David Raya is looking alright between the sticks, to be fair. Ademola Lookman's hit the ground running and being great. And Gareth Bale's been a revelation in his second stint here at St Mary's. So no reason why we can't finish in 5th. but I do know that realistically is the absolute best we'd be able to do. Anyway, following game, City Ground, Nottingham Forest had a great run in the FA Cup this year, as we know, knocked out by Chelsea in the quarter-finals. They did such a great job to make it so far and reach the last 8, but in the Carabao Cup this season, last 16, we beat them by a goal to nil. Adam Armstrong scoring the only one of the game, and you know, seriously, start the season off, man. It's crazy. Bale, Armstrong, and Adams are all scoring goals, and you love to see it. But even so, following the game, we'd find out our draw for the EFL Cup quarter-final. And it's Chelsea away. Stamford Bridge gutted. Bristol City versus Crystal Palace. Wigan versus Arsenal. I really wanted Wigan, to be honest here. Man City versus Cardiff. And we will indeed take on Chelsea away at Stamford Bridge. They were our first opponents today. The first opponents of the season. We lost to them by a goal to nil, but didn't deserve to lose. Played really well, but heading back there to West London for the EFL Cup quarter-final. I fielded weakened sides for the remaining rounds. I don't know what I'm going to do in that game, though, the quarter-final. I'm in two minds, really, because the likelihood is we're probably exiting the competition there. We could pull off a shock, but we haven't recorded a single scalp since the series began yet. So I don't know whether to throw out a backup side, wave the white flag and say, do you know what, it was a fun run, but it's nice while it lasted, it's now over. Or risk injury, risk fatigue, and do our absolute best to pull off a giant killing. I'm not too sure. I guess we'll have to wait and see. Anyway, fifth and final game of today's episode to close out October. West Ham away, and he's back to his best, baby. 31 minutes in after Che Adams hit the woodwork. Ritsu Doan's 4th of the season, and finally, our Japanese sensation is showing why he got that double wage increase. Double wage increase? Why his wages were doubled. 4th goal in 9 games. And he's finally starting to assert himself after a slow start to the season. Should have been saved by Danny Ward, though. Really poor goalkeeping, to be fair. But hey, we will take it. It is 1-0 Southampton at the London Stadium. But right before the break, virtually the final kick of the first half, Rui Bal smacks in the goal. Sorry, no, it was Nikola Vlasic. Sorry, it was Vlasic, the Croatian who scored West Ham's leveller there. Vlasic smacking it home past Raya to make it 1-1. He was a bit of a star in my Armenia Bielefeld career mode so recently, but against me here, scores the leveller, and what a strike it was. So 1-1. But I'll be totally honest here, this is one of those games where, like, I started off on the front foot, I looked really strong, I took a deserved lead, but once West Ham scored that goal right before the break, it was like a sucker punch, do you know what I mean? Heading into the dressing room, I talk about psychologically how much that can hurt teams when they concede a goal right before half-time. Exactly what happened there. West Ham back on level terms, and I just totally lost it in the second half, completely demoralised. West Ham then took the lead soon after the restart. Raya made a great save, and 18 minutes to go. Goodness gracious me. Well, if you did watch my Bundesliga career mode of Armenia Bielefeld, you would know what this guy was capable of in the final season. Nikola Vlasic, what a goal, makes it 3-1. My friend in the Bielefeld career mode, my enemy today. Our undefeated run in the Premier League ends after 1. We lose West Ham away from home. It has been a decent run of form for Southampton, but 2 defeats in 3 now. We're back to the inconsistent form we showed all season long, but it's not been a terrible start, to be fair. It was a tough beginning. We have picked it up a little bit, though. 10 games into the season, a quarter of the way through. Long way to go. And we're in the top 10. That was my aim this season, and right now, that's exactly where we are. Long way to go, though. But that will end today's episode of the Realistic Career, guys. Big thank you for watching. If you have enjoyed, if you have, then please do drop a like. Much love to you all. Have a fantastic day, and I'll see you for the next episode featuring our first potential to be special youth player. Spoilers, but don't miss it. It's class. I'll see you for it very soon.